Gaming Division.
Hey everybody, welcome to Gaming Division. I'm Cameron. Today we're going to take a look at Faster Than Light. This is a game available on the PC through Steam. It's a third-person perspective roguelike. To me, the best way to explain it is Firefly meets Battlestar Galactica, where it's like Mal has a weaponized ship and he's running from the Cylons. There are some adventure RPG type elements, but mostly it's a strategy game, as far as the battles are concerned at least. The true synopsis is that you're a Federation ship running from the rebels which are toppling the Empire, and you have to get important information back to the fleet. My love it for this one is this is a game that is so replayable. Easily end up with 100 or 2 hours of this gameplay just because you're playing it over and over and over, and you find new things and you learn new ways to play, and you get a different ship and you do that and you get some of the achievements, and then you get the second version of that ship, and then you use that to do things you didn't know you could do before because it's that much different. My hate for this is the random element. Nothing is ever the same. Each system that you go to is different. The order the systems show up in your running path is different. You could be after one achievement for days on end just because the elements that you need for that achievement don't show up. Most notably, the Ancestry one, where you have to find the hidden sector to get the crystal ship. And if you don't do it with the rock cruiser, you don't get that achievement, because his achievement is to get to the crystal sector. It's just an impossible series, because you have to find a randomly placed stasis pod at a random distress signal, and then you have to find a research facility to revive the pod at an unmarked location, and then you have to find the rock homeworld, which may or may not be there by the time you get all that done. It makes me want to punch somebody, but it doesn't make me stop playing the game. So let's go on to categories.
Aesthetics.
It's super simple graphics. Little sprites, they walk around, you click and point to things. There are little clickable, selectable things all over the place. It's functionally aesthetic. There's cool music if you want that. There's little sound effects. There's noises to give you alerts about different things happening. Visible warnings that your shields or hull is at critical capacity. They did a lot of good work on it. They just failed to make it look fancy, and that's okay with me. I don't need a fancy looking game, but in the interest of review, it matters. Aesthetics gets an 80.
Control interface.
The controls are mostly point and click. There are hotkeys so you can do a lot of things from the keyboard, but in order to target anything you have to use the mouse. In order to pause it, you have to use the keyboard. Just on those two aspects alone, you are tethered to two different input devices, and that bothers me a little bit. I wish I could play the whole thing from the keyboard, or better yet, because of the amount of time you put into the game or doing different things, I wish I could do the whole thing with the mouse, but I can't seem to figure out how to pause it with the mouse, so I have to at least pause it with my left hand while I'm playing. And it's a small thing, but I've put enough hours into this game that it matters. With that said, most of the controls themselves are fine. There's no chance of you hitting A and it doesn't do what it does. Occasionally you'll hit V instead of the space bar, and you'll turn your auto fire off, but you pause it, turn your auto fire back on, reset your targeting, and then you smack yourself because you did something silly, not the computer. Control interface gets an 85.
Environmental controls.
The targeting on this is so weird. The math that goes into calculating like whether something hits or not is very strange, and the different things that are out there really make it a challenge to figure out even how to do something, not just the quality of your execution on how to do it. I think the biggest factor is that you don't feel like you have control of it. Obviously, you have control over how you set up your ship's settings, but because of the way the game's designed, you don't have the ability to go and grind and earn things to better yourself because you just don't have the time. You grab what you can when you can, and you hope for the best. And I think that's what bothers me about the environmental controls, is that you kind of have to hope a little bit, and that's just a weird thing for me to do in a video game. Environmental controls get an 80.
Game mechanics.
While I don't enjoy the aspect of the game putting pressure on you to continue your mission, it's a completely viable aspect, and it makes you make decisions. The whole point of this game is to do management and choose what you can and where you're going to go, and given 2 distress beacons and you can only go to one, which one are you going to go to? Are you going to be able to find a store on your way out to heal up your ship? The same things that I hate about the game actually make it a very good game mechanically, And I think their systems are really good. I think the weapon designs for this game are really good. I think the way the ships are put together are really good. The racial bonuses for the individual characters, and then the racial bonuses for the ships themselves are all amazing. The different strategies that you can take for this. I could do a 1 hour special on faster than light strategies just on their own, and it deserves a standalone battling system, just so like I can build a ship and you can build a ship and we can battle it out, and whoever wins gets X amount of scrap from the other ship to use to build their ship up, and that way you can make a whole game out of it. Game mechanics gets a 90.
Storyline.
I might get a little flack for this one. There's not a real story. The story is you are running from the rebels to go back to the Federation fleet to give them this information about the rebel mothership. That's it. That's the real story. But you build a story the whole time you go through. Who you meet on your adventures, who you hire and to join your crew, what weapons you find, who you help on your way. It helps you determine what kind of person you are in game by the actions you take, without a meter telling you that, hey, this makes you a good guy, this makes you a bad guy. Because you can literally go around blowing the heads off pirates the entire time, or you can side with the pirates and be like, hey pirate, why don't you just give me some scrap and that weapon and we're good. Slavers show up to enslave one of your crew, you could send somebody over, or you can fight them off and then possibly rescue somebody. It gives you a sense of agency that just doesn't exist in some video games. I think it's because it's focusing on a crew and not individual characters. Storyline gets an 80. Now if you total all that up, you get an average of 83. For my wrap-up review, I gotta say this is a strange mix of wonderfully and annoyingly random gameplay. Because of its roguelike nature, there's a lot of permadeath and pressure from the oncoming forces, and randomly built pathways to get from beginning to end. A lot of people are attracted to this just in general, and I think it makes for a great game. I would like to see this as an MMO though. I want to see the game where there's a race-specific system that I can travel to and do a mission, or see a guy about a weapon, or fulfill an achievement or a mission, or pick up a ship, or go to somewhere specific to hire somebody. Even if that guy turns out to traitor me later. But the important thing is that it's about the ship, not a specific crew member. And I think EVE Online does something like that, but that's such a scary world to try to go into if you talk to those people. I even thought it'd be cool to have like a rival rebel marshal or something that's specifically after you. Kind of like in Pokemon, you have your opposing enemy trainer. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm Cameron. Have a nice day. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations and they'll take you to our other channels.